You know, I've had so many heartfelt conversations with folks our age about the joys and challenges of raising children. And let me tell you, parenting doesn't stop when they turn 18, does it? Whether you're guiding grown children, helping with grandkids, or reflecting on your own journey, there's one thing we all share. We want our kids to be happy, truly happy. But here's the thing. Sometimes, without even realizing it, we hold on to habits that might be doing more harm than good. Now, I'm not here to point fingers. Heaven knows I've made my share of mistakes over the years. But what if I told you that a few small shifts in how we approach parenting could make a world of difference in our children's lives, no matter their age? Today, let's talk about 5 things we need to stop doing if we want our kids to grow up feeling confident, loved, and truly happy. And don't worry, this isn't about guilt. It's about growth. For them and for us. Let's start with something so many of us struggle with. Overprotecting. Oh, I get it. When my grandson wanted to climb his first tree, my heart leaped into my throat. All I could see were scraped knees and broken bones. But here's the truth. When we shield our kids from every bump and bruise, physical or emotional, we're also shielding them from growth. Think back to when you were young. Didn't you learn resilience from those scraped knees? From figuring out how to mend a friendship or solve a problem on your own. Our children need room to stumble, to feel capable. So next time you're tempted to jump in and fix something, whether it's a toddler squabble over toys or an adult child's career dilemma, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is this their journey or mine? Sometimes the greatest gift we can give is trust. Trust that they'll learn, adapt, and surprise us with their strength. Now, the second habit, comparing them to others. Oh, this one's sneaky. It might sound innocent. Your sister was married by your age, or why can't you be more like your cousin? But those comparisons, they stick. They whisper, you're not enough as you are. And here's the kicker. Even positive comparisons, you're the smart one, can box them into roles they never chose. I'll never forget the time I told my daughter, your brother never needed help with math. She looked at me and said, Mom, I'm not him. That hit me like a ton of bricks. Our kids aren't trophies to rank or puzzles to solve. They're individuals with their own dreams, timelines, and struggles. So let's celebrate their path, not the one we think they should be on. Now, I know change isn't easy. Old habits run deep, don't they? But imagine this. What if, by loosening our grip and letting go of comparisons, we open the door to a deeper connection? To conversations where our kids feel seen for who they are, not who we think they should be. That's where real happiness begins. We've only just begun, my friend. There's more to explore, gentle shifts that can transform not just our children's lives, but our relationships with them. So let's keep this conversation going, shall we? Because here's the beautiful truth. It's never too late to grow alongside the people we love most. You know, one of the most beautiful parts of being a parent or a grandparent is watching our children discover their own passions. The spark in their eyes when they talk about something they love, that's pure magic. But sometimes, without meaning to, we risk dimming that spark by asking them to chase our dreams instead of theirs. Let me explain. The third habit we need to let go of, living vicariously through them. Now, I'll raise my hand here, guilty as charged. Years ago, I pushed my daughter to take piano lessons because I'd always wanted to play. And guess what? She hated it. One day, she looked at me and said, Mom, this isn't your childhood. It's mine. Ouch. But she was right. We all have unmet hopes, dreams we didn't chase, talents we didn't nurture. But our children aren't here to rewrite our stories. When we nudge them toward our unfinished goals, whether it's a career, a hobby, or even a relationship, we send a subtle message. Your desires aren't as important as mine. And over time, that can smother their joy. So what's the alternative? Curiosity. Ask questions. Listen. Celebrate their interests, even if they're foreign to us. When my grandson decided he wanted to be a vegan chef instead of a lawyer like his grandpa, I'll admit I worried. But now, watching him light up as he cooks a meal for the family, that's worth more than any title. Our job isn't to script their lives. It's to cheer from the front row while they write their own. Now, this brings me to something many of us do out of love, but it can leave scars if we're not careful. The fourth habit, using guilt as a tool. Oh, it's tempting, isn't it? After all I've done for you, or I just wish you'd visit more. We say these things hoping to connect, but guilt doesn't build bridges. It builds walls. I remember telling my son, you never call unless you need something. His face fell. Later, he confessed, Mom, every time I pick up the phone, I feel like I'm about to disappoint you. That shattered me. Guilt might get short-term results, but it erodes trust. And over time, it teaches our kids to associate family with obligation, not love. So what can we do instead? Communicate with kindness. Instead of saying, you never make time for me, try, I'd love to hear about your week. When's a good time to talk? Give them space to choose a relationship. And when they do show up, whether to call a visit or a hug, savor it. Thank them. Let them know their presence is a gift, not a debt to be paid. Change like this isn't easy, I know. These habits are woven into decades of love and worry. But every time we choose trust over control or kindness over guilt, we're planting seeds. Seeds of confidence, of freedom, of a love that says, I'm here not to direct your life, but to delight in it. And you know what? Those seeds, they grow. Maybe not overnight. Maybe not in ways we expect. But they grow. You know, I was flipping through old pictures this morning. School plays, graduations, that time my daughter tried to cut her own bangs before picture day, chuckled softly. And it hit me. Childhood is just a handful of moments, isn't it? But the way we show up in those moments, that lasts a lifetime. Which brings me to the final thing we need to let go of, micromanaging their choices. Now, I'll confess, I used to think I knew best. What college they should attend, who they should date, even how they should raise their kids. But here's what I've learned. When we hover over every decision, critiquing or correcting, we're not just saying, I care. We're saying, you can't handle this without me. And over time, that doubt seeps into their bones. Take my friend Margaret. She'd call her son daily to remind him to invest his paycheck, until one day he snapped, Mom, I'm 42. Let me live. She was heartbroken, but then something shifted. She stepped back, stopped offering advice unless he asked. And you know what happened? He started calling her, not out of duty, but to share wins, worries, even silly stories. By loosening her grip, she finally got what she wanted all along, a real connection. Our children don't need us to direct their lives. They need us to believe in their ability to direct it themselves, even when their path looks nothing like ours, even when they stumble. Because here's the truth. Mistakes aren't failures. They're how we learn to fly. So let's tie this all together, shall we? We've talked about loosening our grip, letting them scrape knees and mend hearts, letting go of comparisons and old dreams, replacing guilt with grace, and finally, trusting them to steer their own ship. It's not easy. Some days, it'll feel like letting go of a kite string in the wind. But oh, what a sight it is when they soar. If you take one thing from our time together, let it be this. You don't have to be a perfect parent, just a present one. Someone who listens more than lectures, who cheers more than corrects, who loves them not for who you hoped they'd be, but for who they are. So go ahead, leave a comment below. Tell me, what's one small step you'll take this week to nurture your child's happiness? Or maybe share a moment when you learn to let go. We're all in this together, learning as we go. And if this resonated with you, pass it on. Hit like, share with a friend, and subscribe. Let's build a community where we grow with our children, not just for them. After all, the greatest legacy we can leave isn't a life without storms. It's a child who knows they can dance in the rain.